Hi, good afternoon. It is Thursday, July 2, 2026. I'm at my new favorite go-to place. Guess where it is? Don't guess too long, here it is. The Panhandle Trail again. I'm in Bulger, PA, Panhandle Trail. Thursday, July 2, 2026. Let's go. Now, I was here about 2 weeks ago, and I went in this direction because I liked it down here, and I'm doing it again. Now, that 2 weeks ago one was where, when I got out of the car, my body cam battery had been depleted. Depleted itself, all right? I didn't do it. It depleted itself. Anyway, I had to just use my cell phone, take a bunch of little clips, string them together. Now, well, then right after that, replaced the battery, body cam. So now I'm wearing the body cam to get the full experience. The body cam experience. Basically, I came here because I was thinking of going down towards McDonald, maybe Primrose, different trailhead down there. I decided, no, I like this. I'm gonna keep coming here until I don't like it anymore. Man, it is hot. This is probably the worst time to be doing this. Worst time of the day and or year. Because we're talking about a heat wave. So when I got out of the car, it was 91 degrees Fahrenheit. It's going to go to probably like the mid 90s today. We're having this heat wave all week. And it's pretty oppressive. But it's going to start slowing it down now. And slow it down. Don't overexert yourself. It's a hot one, for sure. That parking lot was completely empty. I guess people don't want to be walking out in this. I've had enough of staying indoors with the air conditioning. I want to get back out on the trail. So last time I was on the trail was last Friday. Down in Burgettstown. Since then, I've been doing the indoor air conditioning, walking in malls and stuff. That gets old. Man, it's really hot. Whew, I don't know if I should have done this, but a little bit of shade right here. Enjoy it while you can, because I'll tell you what, up here, there's no shade whatsoever. Once you get past this stuff, you get to the Field of Dreams. Yeah, we're doing the Field of Dreams again. Just because we like it. Grab a little piece of shade right here. Okay, get back in the sun. Grab a little piece of shade. Back in the sun. It's okay for a little while, but once we get past that one hillside up there, then there's no shade. There's a gigantic field to the left and right. Man, this is really hot. I was wondering what this would be like walking in this. Now I know. It's not that great. It's a little shady right here. It's humid too. Very humid. That makes it bad. Trying to breathe and shit. And here's this, let's get around this. There's a guy coming on a bike. Hi. Hello. Let's grab a little piece of shade. Grab a little water for our journey. All right, let's go. So the new thing that's going on is got me a new computer. My old one was, I'm with Apple, so I have a MacBook Pro 16-inch from I bought it in 2020. The model came out in 2019. It's not that old even. I mean, it's not that bad. There's nothing wrong with it really, but I just decided I want to get another one. You know, the battery on that doesn't hold a charge as much. It kind of depletes pretty quickly. Technology has changed so much in these years. It's the old processor. It's not even like M1 or anything. It's like Intel or whatever it is, whatever it was. Now, this new one, MacBook Pro, bought it here in 2026. I think it's 2025 model. It's like an M5 chip. So it's the highest one they have so far. I like it. Little things though, little things. Every time you get something new, you got to learn something new. So like, for example, on that old MacBook Pro, I think they discontinued this feature I'm going to talk about like right away, but right on the keyboard, there's this little bar at the front of the keyboard towards the screen, and that lights up and it has all kind of different activities, different things you can do with it. And you have to use that sometimes to get something accomplished. Like for example, editing these videos. If you use iMovie, you have to utilize those features on that little, I don't know what it's called, a bar, key bar, or whatever, light bar, something like that. Whereas now on this new MacBook Pro, they don't have that anymore. So you kind of got to get used to using some of the function keys that maybe you're not as familiar with. You have to kind of refresh your memory on. It's gonna be a pain in the butt, really. Okay, but did some experimenting with it when I first got this machine the other day, and I can do it. I can deal with it. Mile marker 23. Let's go ahead and get a alternate video of it. Now, mile marker 23. There's that beautiful field up there. We're starting to get into it. Not yet. There's me baking in the sun, man. It's like 91 degrees Fahrenheit. There's mile marker 23. Let's stand in this shade real quick while we're standing here videoing. It's what, 90 in the shade? 90 in the shade. All right. All right. Okay. So now what I'm doing, I started doing this a little while ago. I'm on this kick now where I'm buying all these extra hard drives. Basically, to store the videos, to archive, for archival purposes, to keep them so they don't get lost or damaged. Oh, there's a loud dog barking over there. Do not want that over here. Do not come over here. No, basically, I've said this before. This hobby of doing these walks is fun. And then taking videos and doing these like body cam videos and stuff, that's fun. And I like it. But wow, does that rack up the storage. Outrageous. It's starting to get outrageous. One of these videos, let's say like roughly a 2-hour video of mine walking around and stuff, can end up being like 18 gigabytes. 17, 18 gigabytes. Now, add that up for a little while, and you realize you don't have enough storage on your device, even if you bought extra when you bought it, and you need some external hard drive or whatever to store it on. Then you start thinking, wait a minute now. People talking about, the lifetime of these external hard drives. What if I put all my stuff on them and then something goes bad and I lose it? So then you start going, I gotta back that one. I gotta put it in another place too, So you end up buying like 2 and 3 extra hard drives just to make sure you're not going to lose anything. Then the other thing you could do is do like optical storage on a like a Blu-ray disc, and you can use those M discs, the M disc technology, archived for hundreds of years. So anyway, when you start doing that, you start buying a lot of extra stuff, and this hobby gets very expensive. But it's kind of cool getting all this new technology. And boy, I tell you, hard drives, the SSD, especially the SSD ones, they are so expensive now. It just spiked up in the last year because I bought one time, like I guess it was early 2025, I believe it was. I decided I better do something with all these videos I got because I'm running out of space, and also, an iCloud too. I'm running out of space on there, so I bought this SSD drive, and it wasn't that bad. It was expensive, but it wasn't that bad. I went to look at them now, a couple weeks back, a month ago or whatever. It's like, wow, they're more than double what they were last year. I guess everybody's realizing that data storage is the place to go for making money, these companies. All right, here we go. This is what I call the gateway. Whew, man, it's so hot. The gateway to the field of dreams. Now let me just look at something real quick. Yeah, see, it says 90 degrees in Coriopolis. Extreme heat. Yeah, it's pretty extreme. This is the gateway right here. We're on our way to the field of dreams. Now, Looking straight ahead, there's that hillside. I just did this last 2 weeks ago. There's that slag dump over there, slate dump. Now, this could be considered overkill because I got a lot of videos of this place. But we're doing it anyway. So there's that slag dump down there. We're heading towards the field. There's that really cool hillside. That's a pretty decent looking place up here too. And that way goes back to Bulger. Whew. Damn. Here's the thing I've noticed. These Apple devices that I have. I've had Apple equipment since 2010. You know, iPhone, iPad, and Mac. And I've had, this is my third Mac. Okay, one was 2010, one was 2015. No, wait, this is my fourth Mac. Hang on a second. No. It's the third Mac. 2010, and I waited till 2020. I waited 10 years to get a new MacBook Pro. And now here's one 2026. When I waited that long for the 2020, man, it was like, that machine was like so damn slow. It was almost useless. So anyway, this new one, that one I had from 2020, it works fine. Battery's a little, doesn't retain the charge as long, but that's okay. But now I got this new one, right? It's okay. Oh, we're over that. Okay, now my iPad. I've had one in 2010 when they first came out. The first model. I got the one with the Wi-Fi plus the 3. It was 3G back then. Wi-Fi plus cellular was 3G. The Wi-Fi came out right away in like around February of that year. But you had to wait till April to get the one with the 3G, the cellular. So I got another one in 2015. I got another one in 2020. So that's the one I have right now, the 2020 one. I'm going to get a new iPad just because I want to. My iPad works perfectly. The charge dissipates more quickly than it did when it was new, obviously. I use that iPad for just about everything. But it's just time to do an upgrade, man. Let's do an upgrade. The new ones have the M5 chip. So, whatever. Hi. Whew, man, this is like bacon out here. This might not have been such a great idea because there's no shade. But we're doing it anyway. Now, as far as iPhones are concerned, this is my fourth iPhone. So I had one 2010, 2015, 2020, and then one 2025. So every 5 years, this iPhone 17 Pro Max, purchased brand spanking new in September of 2025. We need something to wipe off the sweat, man, because it's rolling into my eyes. And I got that sunscreen on. It's kind of going into my eyes and burning the hell out of it. Alright. So there's that beautiful hill there. Bee went right for my hand. All right, let's stop this. I'm gonna have to. One thing I noticed with these hard drives. At first, I really didn't know that much about them. I knew somewhat, but not that much. I was wondering like how come those SSDs were so expensive, but it worked out okay for me. Then I started realizing this year when I see that the prices went up so crazily, I went and just bought regular HDDs, and I bought a bunch of them, but they are so much slower. And for example, did an experiment last night, and I was copying. I have on my SSD hard drive, I have all these videos. The ones from 2024, for example, all of them are in a folder, and they're about 650 gigabytes total. All the videos, totaled up as 650 gigabytes, which is a lot. So I tried to copy them over to the computer. I have enough space that I can do that for at least for right now. It only took like 4 minutes to do that whole thing. It was like really quick. But then trying to deal with that, copy that over to one of those HDDs, just as an experiment, took about 2 or 2.5 hours. So if you're just looking for, like archival storage of stuff, and you don't care about speed and like using it for like daily working and making sure it's fast enough, that's fine. It's okay. But if you're relying on that, did this thing end? No, I hope not. Oh man, this goddamn thing went off again. There it is. Oh shit. Damn, that pisses me off. Apple Watch always switches that menu on here, and I like it this way. Okay. Anyway, if you're relying on that hard drive, that external hard drive, to do your work that you're working on your computer, and you do all kind of fancy stuff, and you're trying to do something with the external drive, using that as for functionality in it, you're not going to be able to do it with those regular HDDs. You're going to need the SSDs. So anyway, whatever. I'm on a kick right now. So last fall I bought the new iPhone, and I was almost going to buy like a new iPad and a new computer at that time. I decided to wait a little bit. So now I bought the new computer, and then I thought, well, I'm going to get the new iPad. So I didn't do it yet, but I'm going to do it real soon. I have an old iPad from 2015 that I'm using for miscellaneous storing files. And it's so tricky, and it's not compatible with a lot of stuff anymore. For example, the connector, you want to hook stuff up to it, it's using the old, I guess it's called a lightning connector. Apple, they resisted using USB for so long, then eventually they did. But on that device, kind of like the old iPhone from that time from 2015, it was using that lightning thing. And it's tricky if you want to start copying files onto that without using iCloud, without having your device connected to anything. You can do it, but you have to have a different connector, and you got to make sure you got to supply power to it. Whew. We are in the midst of the fields coming up. Here's that cool field. We'll save, I wasn't taking a picture, but we'll save that for up here. And then some things you try to connect to it. For example, you can connect a flash drive. It's as long as you can supply power. But if you try to connect one of these HDDs, I was not able to get that to work. So it's like I'm going to have to retire that 2015 iPad. I'm not going to use that as a backup anymore. And the thing that cracks me up on that is that iPad from 2015 only has a maximum of 128 gigabytes on it. So nowadays, that's almost useless. You can still use it for certain things, which I do, but that's kind of what I want to do also. I want to get a new iPad for my daily driver, as they call it. But for the one I have right now, I'll use that as the so-called backup for miscellaneous junk. And then I'll just retire that old one. The 2015 model is, I'm not going to say it's junk, because it's not. It works. But it's getting harder to deal with things on it properly. Now you can use, I've done that too. You log into iCloud and then transfer your files that way over the internet. But I tell you what, that takes really long for that device, a 2015 device, to do anything, copying to it or copying out or exporting. It takes real long. Whereas the newer ones support the USB 3.0 and beyond. And then also these brand new ones are like, I think the iPad can go to Thunderbolt 4. The Mac is Thunderbolt 5 capable. So you're set if you get new ones. Alright. We are about as far as we want to go. What's the total miles so far? 1.1. We got just a little bit further. This is the Field of Dreams. This is the Field of Dreams right here. There's a little bit of a breeze that feels good. Whew. This side has that nice hillside over there, but like here it's not as pretty straight ahead. But this side, that's beautiful. There's a hill. There's that flat stuff. Keep checking this watch because something kind of buzzed there. Occasionally there's a little breeze and that feels good, even though it's like really warm air. It's humid, so humid today. I think we're going to stop right here and take some extra videos. Hopefully that didn't stop anything. Okay. Alright. Field of Dreams. There's the trail. Let's blow that up a little bit. Yeah, there's like a lot of flies on it. Flies buzzing around my head. Everything's good about this field except for this one place right here where these pipelines are. That's kind of an eyesore. kind of like flies or something buzzing around me, following me around. So there's one of those towers out there. There's another one straight ahead in that direction over there. I love that field right there with that hillside. Sweat going in my eyeballs. All right, we're at 1.15. I think I'm heading back because it is way too hot to be out here doing this. This is a good experiment and let's see what it would be like, but I don't know. I really like that field right over here. This is like my favorite thing. That's pretty nice over there, but I think that straight ahead is beautiful. And then that hillside, I enjoy it. Thank you very much. And then that one's a real good one right there. All right, we're gonna head back. Another thing I forgot to mention is I'm also putting all these videos up on YouTube. So from day one till now, all these videos, all these hundreds and hundreds of gigabytes, close to 1.5 terabytes, almost getting close to 2 terabytes worth of stuff is up on YouTube, as well as, me saving the files on my own somewhere. But somehow I'm worried about them getting lost. Like, you could have your channel, something could happen, you can have it deleted or something, who knows what. All of a sudden you lose all your videos or you lose access to it or whatever. There are things like you want to go back and look at something. You remember, oh yeah, I remember when I was there on a certain time, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and I want to go back and take a look at that little segment. Comes in handy having these files at your fingertips. The other thing is, every time you get something new, you got to think about what else is different you got to do. Like when I got the 2020 MacBook Pro, I wasn't paying attention. I didn't know, I just bought it. I'm like, I'm going to get a new one. And I go, oh wait. When I got it, I'm like, oh, there's no disk drive in there. There's no CD drive or DVD drive in this. Oh, geez. My old one from 2010, in the old days, they had disk drives in there. The machines are a little bit thicker and heavier, but I use that all the time for importing CDs that I have in my collection, vast collection, importing them into iTunes, basically converting them to MP3 files and stuff. I use that all the time. So naturally, I had to go out and buy an extra drive, external, little portable one. I had one. It worked a little bit for a couple weeks, but then it quit working. Then I got another one. It worked, but I didn't like it too much. So eventually, I kept that, probably for kept using it for maybe 4 years, maybe longer, until I said, I'm going to get something a little bit more reliable. So now, Apple, they had one. They had it all the time. It was I guess they call it the OneDrive. I forget what they call it, but they still make it. You can still buy it. It's discontinued, but I bought one anyway last year. I think it was, or maybe 2 years ago I bought it. And I like it a lot. It's good. It works all the time, without fail. Now, it's good for CDs and DVDs. You can play them. You can burn them. You can burn discs, DVDs and or CDs. But what it's not good for is you can't do it with Blu-ray. You can't. So now, you want to get into preserving some of your stuff on Blu-ray discs, you got to go out and buy yourself another external drive. So that's what I did. See, every time you get a new piece of technology, you have to buy a whole bunch of extra stuff. Or it opens up your mind to different things that you never thought about. You say, well, yeah, I got to go get that. I got to buy that. So basically, I'm going to have the capability to deal with not only CDs and DVDs, but then Blu-rays as well. And for simple copying of files, if that's what you're doing, say like you were using your burn into a disk for just copying files over, that's not a problem. You can just use software that's right on the Apple, or you can get another free one like Burn or whatever. But if you want to do it so you can make it like a playable disc, a disc that you can play in an external, another DVD or Blu-ray player or whatever, then you got to get some other software. And there's some that have free trials, but it's better to just buy whatever they have, because the free trial is not going to give you too much capability. It won't allow you to do a whole lot, and then you'll run out of the trial. So basically, I got that. It's crazy. It's crazy when you think about it. Now, I've gone all my life so far, and I didn't have to worry. I didn't do anything with Blu-rays on my computer. I just used Blu-rays in a Blu-ray player or 4K, whatever, on my different external player that's hooked to my TV and all that. But if you want to start doing some of this fancier stuff, being able to hook to your computer to read and burn, you got to buy extra equipment and you got to deal with software. See, you're gambling. You say, well, I can just copy all these video files to different either SSDs or HDDs externally to the computer, and I can keep some on a computer, I can keep some on the old computer, I can keep some on an iPad or an old iPad, whatever. But you always worry, someday that's going to fail. So you want to have another backup, another method, let's just say another method that's more reliable. Then you might also say, who cares? But if you got memories on there, you don't want a chance of losing it. And if you didn't think about it for a while, you just went about your business, And then you start thinking about it, and you watch some people talking about it, watch some videos, read some articles. Then you start to panic. It's like, you know what? I'm not saving anything. I had some stuff on a computer. I put it on a SSD external, and that's all I did. And I got rid of it on the computer. Well, that's not really a backup. That's just one place. So you got to think about having it in a second place and or a third place for a true backup. It's got to be more than one place. When I worked as an engineer for 41 years, and we had all kinds of data, all kinds of documents, all kinds of crazy stuff, right? Huge, humongous files. I got into this routine because I had lost some files one time. There was something where they had a new system they were using on the shared drives for a large amount of data. They were using some new tool, and instead of like saving it, it deleted stuff. One time I went to use it, files that I had saved over there, and you could see the names of the files, but they were 0 length, just stubs. I reported it. They were all, in a frenzy. They had to get a new software, and then they basically had to apologize to everybody for losing data, which could be pretty serious because it was nuclear safety related stuff. So ever since that time, that was probably back around, I don't know, I'm going to say around 2000, 2002 maybe, I got into this habit of every day, every file, it takes a lot to do, but I would copy it. Like if I'm working on it, here's the place where I work, on this drive, I'm going to copy it as a backup to this other place, and I'm going to copy it as a third place. Then, at one point, we got that OneDrive thing on Windows system, which is analogous to iCloud Drive, where stuff is available on the different places that you're hooked to, but it's only stored out in the cloud somewhere. You got to be very careful that you don't accidentally delete stuff forever. Think, oh, okay, I just saved it there. Okay, I can just delete it from here. Meanwhile, it turns out that things are connected to each other. Same thing with iCloud. You think you're going to do yourself a favor, and meanwhile, you lost all your valuable stuff. So you got to be very careful how you deal with it. I've become disillusioned with iCloud lately. It's good, but it has its downside is it takes so long to transfer files to it and even to download files. I think downloading is quicker. I don't know. I come to rely on these external SSDs and HDDs now more than I do with iCloud. So I have to work out a strategy. I've been doing some stuff. I set some stuff up to do, like copying things here and there. But I want to set up a better strategy. Have a procedure down where I do it the same way every time. So dedicate the older iPad to something, dedicate the old computer to something, dedicate certain SDDs to something, certain HDDs to something else, and then every time you're doing something, make sure you put it copy it over to the right place. And like I was talking about, the SSDs are getting more expensive. When I went to buy this new MacBook Pro, and you're at the checkout and you're trying to decide how much storage do you want, they have a huge markup for, buying like an extra terabyte. I think they were charging, was it like $500 more? And I started thinking, you know what? I think I'm just going to go with 1 terabyte like I had on my old MacBook. And the iPad that I have right now is one terabyte. And I'll just use all these SSDs and HDDs that I bought for anything else. There's that little place with a pond down there. Whew. Man, I am roasting here. There's that pathway somebody went in there, into their property. So you think, do you want to spend, say, like $500 extra to get an extra terabyte on Apple's price in your computer's hard drive? Or do you want to use that $500, or maybe you can buy a decent, 2 terabyte SSD. And you can buy probably like, for that money, you could probably buy an 8 terabyte HDD. But if you want to stick with SSD, you can get a good 2 terabytes for that price, or even more, more terabytes, as opposed to the 1 extra terabyte with Apple. So I chose to get 1 terabyte total, not the extra. I mean, I think it comes with like 512 gigabytes, so I did an upgrade to 1 terabyte, but I wasn't going to go beyond that on the MacBook. And my experiment yesterday, where I was messing around with this SSD, connected external SSD drive, it's super, super fast. It's just as good as having it on your computer and your computer's hard drive. So that works out great for what I need it for. If you were just relying on external HDDs, then it'd be questionable because the speed's not too great. Plus, they're not as reliable long term. Probably lost 5 pounds since I started walking. I am soaked. But like I said, you got to start thinking long term. Like if you're doing this hobby, which I'm doing, right? And I continue doing this, you got to make sure you're going to have enough space down the road to keep saving all these videos in some, reasonable fashion. So, like I said, you split it up. You use certain devices for certain things. You use iCloud for certain things. You use optical discs for certain things for long-term archiving. But it's pretty time consuming to deal with all this stuff. When you're doing this stuff, you're having fun, right? But a lot of times when I'm doing these things, I'm thinking like, well, I feel like I'm at work again. When I was at work, there's all kind of stuff you did like this, and there's so much anxiety associated with, are your files going to be okay? till you get to the level of like you were at work and you were doing your checksums, your MD5 sums, and confirming that everything is truly equal to each other. Like, well, I don't want it to get, too out of control that way. I want it still to be fun. But you got to really make sure you're setting it up properly, because sometimes this happens to me. It happens to me a lot, where I try to set it up, I think it through, I write it all down too, like to make sure I draw it out. I think, okay, this is how I want it to be. And you do it. But then a little while later, you realize maybe you could have done something a little differently and better. So you end up redoing some things. Whew, I gotta get a break in this shade here. So I did the same thing when I was working. I'd have a process all set up, and then you tweak it along the way. Refine it, tweak it. One thing I hate doing is rework. It's almost like, I've said this before, the more rigorous that you are, the harder life is in general. Because you see people doing some haphazard shit, and they're just all carefree and don't even think about it, don't worry about it. But in the end, they lose stuff, or they don't know where their stuff is, or they don't care. What I like about this Apple world is it's natively using Linux. Ever since I first got my first MacBook Pro back in 2010, it's native, it's Linux based, so I'm very familiar with. I can do all kinds of cool stuff, scripts and stuff. So that's fun. So we'll see. It'll be a true test tonight, this evening, when I edit together this video on the new MacBook. How much more difficult is it going to be, or is it going to be okay? I think it's going to be okay. I did a little test with some files that I had, some videos. I did some tests experimenting with, splicing in different things, cutting and pasting and all that kind of stuff. It's different, slightly different. But you got to use your computer for that anyway. Like if you try to use your iMac, or your MacBook. What am I saying? Forget that. If you're trying to use your iPad, I used to do that at the beginning. It's only good for concatenating stuff together, but if you're trying to do some surgically splicing things in and out, and cutting things out, it's a little more tricky. Using your finger to pinch it to try to precisely edit this here or that or whatever. It's harder to do on an iPad. When I first got my iPad, the current one I have is from 2020, and I got my MacBook Pro at that same time, the one from 2020. They were like 2019 models. And then shortly thereafter, just very shortly thereafter, Apple introduced that M1 chip. And I thought, oh man, I could have waited another couple months to get all my new machines upgraded. But think about it, now we're at M5 level. And then in a couple of years, we'll be higher and higher. And you'll say, well, how could we have lived with those old speeds? We need this super fast stuff. Yeah, geez, back then, with my older MacBook Pro, the 2010 one, all he had was like the USB was like a 2.0, and it would take forever and ever and ever to try to copy files, even to a little flash drive. It was just outrageous. Then you get the 3.0 or 3.12. It's fast. And now you've got this Thunderbolt connectors capabilities. Like, for example, when I migrated this new MacBook Pro the other day, if you do it over Wi-Fi, it's going to take too long. But I use this Thunderbolt cable, and the new MacBook can accept up to level 5. The old one can do like level 3. But regardless, it's better than not using it, and it's better than just using Wi-Fi. So I transferred over everything. I had maybe a 500 gigabyte system, everything on the hard drive over there. Not talking about any of these videos, that's all external. Just what was on the hard drive. It only took probably about 25 minutes or 20 minutes or so just to do the whole thing, to do the whole migration. It was pretty seamless. I liked it. I used that Thunderbolt cable. I bought one, a Thunderbolt 5 capability. Even though, the old one's not going to be able to do it, the old machine, it's only limited by the slowest machine, the slowest piece of the system. But still, that was better than just doing it over Wi-Fi. Or even if I just used a regular USB cord. Let's just look at these signs again. So, we are, like I said before, we are in Bulger, and we just went to somewhere in between Bulger and Midway, in that field of dreams, right in here somewhere, and we had a blast. Alright, I think I'm going to turn this thing off now. So we're going to end this workout. This is Thursday, July 2nd, 2026. Signing out now from Bulger, PA. Bye-bye. Okay, so I'm home now, and I'm editing this video on this new MacBook Pro that I just got. And what I was saying during the video was the old MacBook Pro had a bar like right up in here somewhere. All along there was I don't know what it was called, I forget, but it would light up. For example, if you wanted to highlight a clip, like you go up here and highlight a clip like that, it would light up down in here, and you would it would say insert, add to movie, add clip, such and such, or split clip, I forget what it said. And now I have to get used to just dragging and dropping this thing, or going up here, doing it the old-fashioned way with a menu and saying like add to movie. Let's see if I can highlight. Add to movie, add connect to media, insert. In insert, for example, you can use the command W. So I don't know anything about, I never used those before, so I have to learn them or just do it this way with a menu. It's kind of a learning process, but I like that bar down here. Where was it? Right down in here. I got used to that. So there.